Hi, Shalom Aleichem, Erev Tov, Gemara Chatima Tova. Let's just get this set up properly. There is a machlokus in the Gemara, Rebbe and the Rabbanan, concerning Yom Kippur. The Rabbanan say that Yom Kippur is mechaper. Ein Yom Kippur mechaper ela l'shavim. Yom Kippur is not mechaper unless a person does tshuva, and that's in fact how the Rambam paskins. Yom Kippurim hu Yom kapara lekulam, but a person has to do tshuva. Rebbe, on the other hand, says ein aset tshuva ben shelo aset tshuva ben shelo aset tshuva. Yom Kippurim mechaper she'itzumel shel Yom mechaper. The essence of Yom Kippur itself produces kapara. The question is, according to the Chachamim, according to the Rabbanan, what does it mean that Yom Kippur is a day of kapara with tshuva? Normally, if you do tshuva, so you get kapara. So if I did tshuva on Yom Kippur, so what do I need Yom Kippur for? I did tshuva, we get kapara. That's how it works. So you have to say that the Rabbanan also agree that itzumel shel Yom mechaper. The Rabbanan also agree that there's an essence, an itzumel, the essence of Yom Kippur also is mechaper, and it produces a kapara that somehow is beyond the kapara of tshuva, the regular tshuva. And meaning, ultimately Rebbe and the Rabbanan both agree that itzumel shel Yom mechaper, Yom Kippur itself produces a kapara that's beyond the normal kapara that a person achieves by doing tshuva. The question is, do I need to do tshuva to allow Yom Kippur to do what it's supposed to do, to activate that power in Yom Kippur to produce a very high level of, do I have to have done tshuva? That's the Rabbanan. And Rebbe says no. Itzumel shel Yom mechaper, the holiness of the day itself produces kapara, even if a person hasn't done tshuva. Now, Rebbe agrees that God forbid if a person doesn't keep Yom Kippur, then Yom Kippur is not mechaper. If you undermine and negate the entire spiritual power of the day, then certainly Yom Kippur doesn't produce kapara. But Rebbe says even without tshuva, Yom Kippur produces kapara. So the question is, what is exactly this kapara that Yom Kippur is producing? And certainly according to the Chachamim, that it's somehow a different level of kapara than we achieve any other time we do tshuva. After all, we do tshuva all the time. Aseret Yemei Tshuva is a time that's especially set aside for tshuva, but any time during the year, God forbid, a person does an avera, they do tshuva. So what's special about Yom Kippur? So in general, tshuva. Tshuva means that a person stops doing the sin. They have charata, they have regret, and in a certain sense, the regret, the pain of recognizing my shortcoming compensates for whatever pleasure I had in doing the avera. So I've sort of evened out the balance, if you want. The person obviously had some kind of enjoyment doing the avera. They wouldn't have done it if it was painful or unpleasant. And now the pain of the tshuva, the regret, the remorse, to a certain degree kind of obviates or negates that pleasure. But how does itzumel shel Yom mechaper? Itzumel shel Yom, I had to have done tshuva, but we said itzumel shel Yom, there's a higher level of tshuva, which is not the normal kind of tshuva. What happens? What is the essence of Yom Kippur that produces this tshuva? So it explains in Hasidic thought there's a concept that in general there's three levels on which we relate to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's the level of tshuva, there's the level of Torah and mitzvahs. We relate to a Kadosh Baruch Hu by doing mitzvot. And those mitzvahs connect us to Hashem. And if, chas v'shalom, a person does an avera, or by the way, if they fail to do a mitzvah that they were obligated to do, it's the same thing. They're both wrong. They're both against Ratzon Hashem. So they've severed, or they've blemished, if not entirely severed, they've blemished that connection. However, a person can do tshuva, and tshuva restores that previous connection, meaning tshuva must symbolize a higher level of connection to Hashem, that despite the fact that there was a blemish based on the level of connection of Torah and mitzvahs, tshuva rectifies that blemish. So tshuva is a higher level of connection where that blemish can be rectified. That's mitzvah and tshuva, but there's a third level of connection. The third level of connection is the connection of the essence of a Jew to the essence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And that's a connection that can never be broken. That's a connection that's not affected at all by an Avera. That's an essential connection that's simply the fundamental definition of what a Jew is. They have that connection to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's the connection we talked about in Tefillah, when we say, every morning, Elokai neshama shenatata bi tohorahi, atav barata, ata yetzarta. Before ata barata, before, so to speak, that neshama is even, so to speak, created, before it's sent into the world of creation, it's tahorahi. There's the essence of the neshama that's tahor. And even a person, God forbid, who's a Rasha, a person who doesn't keep mitzvahs, if that person were to ask us, am I obligated to say that bracha in the morning? Neshama shenatata bi tahorahi. Of course, the answer is yes. The Shulchan Aruch says even that person has to make the bracha. Why? Because whatever that person may have done, that level of the neshama was never affected. That level of neshama is connected to godliness over and above whatever we may have done. That's the level of the neshama that we reach on Yom Kippur. That's Itzumel Shel Yom Mechaper. That's the level of neshama that's revealed on Yom Kippur, and relative to that level of the neshama, there's no such thing as an avera. So it's more than just a kapara. It's negating the possibility of being separated from God to begin with. However, the question is, how do we reach that level of relationship? Rebbe says it's automatic. That's what Yom Kippur does. The Rabbanim say, no, you have to go through the steps. A person has to do tshuva, and by virtue of doing tshuva and fulfilling the mitzvahs of Yom Kippur, being involved in Yom Kippur, davening, fasting, a person can reach that level of relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, Itzumel Shel Yom Mechaper, where lichatchila, a priori, the avera never existed. There's nothing that can blemish that fundamental relationship we have with God. That's the essence of Yom Kippur. And that's what we're striving to achieve on Yom Kippur. That we strive. Of course, there's the level of mitzvahs on Yom Kippur, fasting. There's the level of tshuva on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is one of the Aseret Yemei Tshuva, even though really there's only 7 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur themselves are part of the Aseret Yemei Tshuva. So there's the mitzvah of Yom Kippur, fasting. There's the tshuva of Yom Kippur, which is tshuva. And then there's Itzumel Shel Yom Mechaper, that if we enter into Yom Kippur fully, we daven, we think about the idea of that essential connection we have with Hashem, that ultimately nothing can blemish, nothing can change, and we concentrate and think about that connection that we have with the Kadosh Baruch Hu 24/7, in every situation, no matter what the case may be, then on that level of connection, there's no such thing as an avera, and we're forgiven. There's a kapara. We start a new year with a whole new attitude and a whole new enthusiasm, a whole new commitment to revealing that relationship on the lower level, on the level of Torah and mitzvahs. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we should all experience this year a very special Yom Kippur, probably not quite the same as the Yomei Kippurim we've had in the past, but we should all experience that and get in touch with that fundamental connection we all have to Hashem, never blemished, never changed, And that relationship should then inform all of the Torah and mitzvahs we do throughout the year. Gemar Chatima Tova, best wishes for a very, very meaningful and significant Yom Kippur. God bless you.